just want to thank you for coming out. Just want to share a little bit about the area, because you come to Nebraska, but then you think of why here? You're sitting in the middle of a parking lot, and it's not at a Harley dealership. But a little bit in Nebraska, I think the Sarpy County is probably the best place to be. Within Sarpy County, it's in Papillion, and in Papillion is exactly where we're at. If you're not familiar with the area, Sarpy County has Offutt Air Force Base. That was a fort all the way back to 1890 when the War Department stood that up. And a couple of the big things that happened there, World War II was the home of the Martin bomber plant. It made about 531 B-29s, and one of those was the Enola Gay. So right here in this area, big in the history, 9/11, President Bush flew in here on 9/11 because of the support that was here. And it's now the headquarters for STRATCOM, which is the command and control facility. So it's kind of Sarpy County, so probably the best place in Nebraska for a military event. In Papillion itself, where we're at, last year, in partnership with the VA, we opened a VA community living center, which is basically a nursing home for veterans for short-term stay. And their mission is to restore each veteran to his or her highest level of well-being. It's also to prevent declines in health and provide comfort at the end of life. And it's just a couple of miles down the road. And then just in the last couple of weeks, we made an announcement of a new VA clinic. So a state-of-the-art VA clinic will be in Papillion. And if you're from the area, you see some construction at 72nd and Giles. That's what that is. And so that's a major deal for Papillion. The Omaha National Cemetery is in Papillion. You're going to be escorted out there and go through there. If you've never been through there, it's amazing. I'll warn you a little bit, because of the number of veterans being buried, it's actually going through some expansion. So you're going to see some construction, but it's because of the number of veterans that are passing. So that's in Papillion. And then we have a Veterans Park in Papillion, and it just started with a little thing, and we wanted to honor veterans. So it's had incremental improvements every year for the last 10 years. If you're from the area sometime, I'd really encourage you to go down there. It's downtown behind the old Dairy Queen. And if you're not from the area, just Google Maps, Veterans Park, and you go back there. It's an official Blue Star Memorial, an official Gold Star Memorial. It has a POW KIA Memorial. If a veteran has any association with Sarpy County, they can be named on the honor wall. And we also have 5 special Papillion people that are honored in there. We have a Congressional Medal of Honor winner from the Civil War. We have a killed in action from World War I, a missing in action from Vietnam, and 2 killed in action from Afghanistan who were specifically named in there as well. So we really want to honor veterans in Papillion in a lot of ways. But why in the middle of a parking lot right here at SumTur Amphitheater? I think that thing is because of what's going to be at the top of the hill where the trees are. There were some gentlemen, and one of them is here, Mr. Tom Brown, somewhere, Mr. Tom Brown over here. There's a handful of people that realized that Nebraska was one of the only states in the nation, if not the only, that did not have an official dedicated Vietnam Veterans Memorial. And there was a small group of Vietnam vets that realized we got to rectify that. And so they formed the Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial Foundation. They came up with a design. They started the capital campaign for fundraising. We found out about that and got connected with them and said Papillion wants to be part of that. And so we entered a 50-year memo of understanding and donated the land, and it's going to be right here at the top of the hill. And that construction, hopefully, we're closing a little bit of a funding gap, but if everything works out, we should start construction within the next month or so. And the goal is March 29th of next year to have the grand opening for that memorial to honor all Vietnam vets in Nebraska. March 29th is Vietnam Veterans Memorial Day, so keep that in mind. Any Vietnam vet that was killed in action in the state of Nebraska will be specifically named in that memorial. And the centerpiece of it will be a Huey helicopter, and it has been restored. And the neat thing about that is during the restoration process, we were able to make contact with the original crew of that Huey helicopter, and they're going to be up here for the ribbon cutting. So I want to encourage you to come back for that. So hopefully that explains a little bit of why you're sitting in the middle of Papillion, Nebraska, in a parking lot as a place to honor veterans. I want to thank Congressman Bacon, who will be speaking to us a little bit. Congressman Bacon is a retired general. He was at Offutt Air Force Base for one of his tours, or 2 of them. He's a Papillion resident. also a U.S. congressman, and he's the one responsible for the flag that's up here that's going to be doing the tour to have flown over the U.S. Capitol. So this flag flew over the U.S. Capitol because of Congressman Bacon. So I want to thank him for that. The event itself, I specifically want to thank Papillion. I want to specifically thank Papillion Lieutenant Ray Higgins and the Nebraska State Patrol Sergeant Jacobson. They were the ones that really got on board with this. Almost all of the logistics for today's event has been around public safety. It is a major deal in Nebraska to shut down a state highway, and we're shutting down two of them, Highway 50 and Highway 370. And we've got about 30 police officers from about 5 different agencies involved in this event. And so I want to thank them for all of that coordination. The La Vista, Bellevue, the sheriff, the state patrol, and Papillion all have officers in motor patrol here. So be sure to thank the officers when you see them. We are also live streaming this event. And so those involved with the Nation of Patriots that are not here, they can be anywhere in the nation, they should be able to see the event right now. And so the city's communication team is doing that, and you might see some drones up from the police drone team as well. So I want to thank them for all of that support. Chief Gott from the fire department arranged to have the flag, so I want to thank him for that. And most important, Mr. Doug Huggins, who manages SumTur Amphitheater for the city, is a military veteran, and he handled a lot of the logistics. So I just want to thank him for that as well. Be sure to come back on September 16th. The ride will be wrapping up. You'll be, as you're coming into Nebraska, wrapping it up. You'll be at the Air Force Museum in Ashland with Clayton Anderson, a Nebraska resident, executive director of that, and also an astronaut. And so that'll be the last event, and then it'll wrap up here. And on the homecoming, we'll probably be inside the facility for a little bit bigger event. But I just want to thank you and enjoy the ride.